Hi, and welcome to Marketing Live TV for this week, where you can engage in real life marketing live on the show. This week, I'm going to talk all about reporting and the good, bad, and ugly of what marketers do and cause themselves so much more pain than they need to. I see this over and over again, and really, they just need to get a bit more understanding of what people want and need, and rather than just data dump everything. So I've got a really good statement and a couple of points that I'll go through to make sure that you absolutely hit the nail on the head with your reports when you're reporting on your marketing activity. Now, remember to, there we go. Marketing Live TV, social channels, make sure that you connect with us and share these posts. Jump on and like the show, like everything, to be honest. Yeah, it's a bit of self-promotion, but anyway. Marketing Live TV is the channel, and this week I'm going to talk about reporting, so stay tuned to find out more. Alright, so marketing reporting. Now, I'm going to share a bit of a screen with you. Let's bring this up here. Alright, so I see so many types of reports like this where there's a heap of information, there's a whole heap of information all about all the things they're doing, trying to make them look like a really insightful. And this is great if you're an analyst. If you're a marketing analyst or a business analyst and you're trying to understand the absolute detail that you need to get into the nitty-gritty and find the answers, results, or if you're looking at it from a very high level and you want to look at an overview to start the question as to why you got the result you got. But this is just the start. There's heaps of them. A simple Google search will bring up a whole heap of these sorts of things, and they are, I don't want to say rubbish, they're good to start the question and good to start to understand where to look in more detail, but they're really not that effective of being an actionable result. So that's what I want to talk about today, because so many times I've heard marketers say, oh, we're going to quadruple your results, or I'm 100% positive that we're going to get you 10 times this, or or whatever it may be. They're so great at telling the story and convincing themselves that they're so amazing at it, but they don't actually know what actionable insight and what benchmark they're going to use as a indicator to tell if it was successful. And also, they don't know whether that benchmark aligns with the objective of the person that they're talking to. Now, 90% of the time, this is the marketer talking to their boss, telling them this is what they need to do because it's the greatest thing, it's the next shiny thing, and it's going to be life-changing. We're going to take over the world with this new activity. Social media was the massive one for that, with the lure of social media, had companies spending millions of dollars trying to get some sort of return on investment out of social media, and they just didn't know what or where or how to do that, and they were chasing the next shiny thing, not the actual objective that they were after. or the actual objective they should have been after. So on all of that, and like, I don't know how many times I have gone through a report or listened to someone explaining their results, or seen a report where they've said, oh, we did great, we achieved X, and they achieved 10,000 sales, and then only to have it cut down by saying, well, what was that in comparison to, or what was the result last year, and them not having an answer to that. And then it's that not having an answer part that loses trust in the marketer, loses trust in marketing as a discipline, and it loses trust in the activities that you're doing to generate the results. Now, I'm pretty confident that not everyone is perfect, whether they're at the CEO level, the VP level, or just owner level, or anyone, and they've all made mistakes. Now, if you do a marketing campaign and it doesn't quite work the way that it was supposed to, or something doesn't have a result, then you need to be able to explain why, understand why, and then have an action to change or modify that for the future. And that's the critical the critical part. And it's having that actionable insight as to what you can do next time to get a better result. Now, I've got 3, I suppose, top level points to make sure that when you run a campaign, or when you run any sort of marketing analysis, that you make sure that you have these, so that then you can clearly state what it is, what the result is, and what the outcome is for the future. And that's the part. So for example, you do a campaign, you sell 10,000 units of whatever it is, and then that's great. But then what does that mean? So then you need to go back and you need to understand, well, how did that compare to the same period of time, give it a week or a month or whatever it was, as to the previous month, the previous year last year, the average for the year last year, the trend that sort of thing. So all of that sort of thing, all of that sort of information is important as your benchmarks. So that gives you the benchmark indication, and you need to know that before setting your campaign. And this is a really important point, is reporting is only as useful as what your objective is. Now, so let's call that point 1. Point 1 is your objective and your benchmarks. Now, if your objective is to increase by 10%, then you need to know what that 10% is. If your objective is to get X number of sales, then how does that compare to what you've done in the last few months, or what you've done in the last year, and how does that compare to the trend that you're on? What are your customers doing, and what's the mix of products that you need to do to achieve that? Now, that sounds like a whole heap of work, but generally it just takes a little bit of quiet time to just stop and think about what you're trying to achieve and what you've done in the past. So then the second part, so that's the first of 3, benchmarks and your objectives. Second part is implementation. So making sure that the activities that you implement, the second part is implementation and generating the results. So, and what it is it's making sure that the activities that you do to achieve that target and objective and benchmarks, it is orientated towards achieving that benchmark. So I know social media is the golden child of many marketing people out there, but if you're trying to get a significant increase in revenue and your key revenue driver is your emails, then or if your key revenue driver or a key awareness driver is billboards out on the street, or it's your foot traffic past your door, I don't care how much money you spend on social media, it won't get you the result, because that's not where people are going to find you, and it's not how people are finding you and purchasing from you. So you need to bear that in mind. It might be a way to get a small incremental uplift, but spending all of your resource time and all of your money into that, saying as the key strategy of getting a result, is generally not going to be, well, let's just say it might not always be the way. So you need to understand and be mindful that shifting a whole strategy shifting a whole marketing budget or campaign to a new shiny object when you're trying to achieve an increase through a foundation is generally not going to make the result. So anyway, make sure that you're using the mix of marketing channels and the strategies and the communication methods and that will achieve the individual objective that you're after. And that's critical, because it has to be tied to what you're trying to achieve. If you're, and let's just throw it out there, if you're going out there and you're trying to achieve 10% increase in sales, and you have a general branding message that has no call to action and no drive for engagement on YouTube pre-roll videos, then the likelihood that you're going to achieve that is pretty low. You may get it by default, but you won't get it all the time. So that hit and miss thing that many marketers sort of have to deal with, that's where you'll be. All right, so benchmarks and objectives. Number one, implementation and collating the results. Now, once you've done that implementation, collate your results. Make sure that you monitor it all the way through. You monitor the key element that will indicate that you have achieved or not achieved your result. But then you also need the surrounding elements or some surrounding benchmarks or indicators or whatever they are that will give you the information, so that if you are successful or aren't successful, what drove that success or that result. That's another important point. You can't just measure the result and then not have an answer as to why you got the result. So then once the campaign's over, you've done all your bits and pieces, and yay, it was successful, or no, it wasn't successful, whatever it may be, that doesn't matter at this stage. Well, it does, obviously, but that's not the important part. The important part is to sit back and analyze and think. And the reason the third part is analyze and think is because you need to, one, look at the results, look at the key indicator, and then the surrounding indicators as to what it is that drove that result. Now, let's say you had a channel, or like a campaign that had social media and YouTube pre-roll ads and email marketing and online billboards and display advertising and search media, and you look at your results and you achieved your results. Great, 2 thumbs up. But what was the key marketing channel that drove the result? When you look deeper, you may find that you had a significant increase in 1 or 2 of the channels, but the others stayed flat. So now, next time, you know that those 2 channels are the ones you can manipulate to drive up your result, and then the other channels, whatever they were, you need to refine the message or refine the communication or increase your targeting to get a better result out of those channels, multiplying your overall result for the next campaign. Now you see how sitting back and having the surrounding performance indicators aligned with the main objective then gives you further insight as to what you can do next time. And the analyze and think part is the most critical part, because it answers that question as to what you can do next time to get a better result. Now, I mentioned earlier that I've got a statement or a couple of bits that that are critical, or that I think are critical in all reports. Now, if you do any sort of reporting, this statement should be the last statement on any report. And I will bring it up. So for those who are thinking about it or interested in, doing reporting for marketing, this statement is the absolute critical statement. We did X. What did you do? We did this and got this result. So and we got that result because of these reasons, and you outline those reasons. Now, this is a short, simple statement, so you need to make sure that we did these things with this, and we got this result, and because of these reasons. So next time, to get a better result, we will do X, and this can be a couple of sentences. It can be broken down into 3 or 4 parts. So we did this, as in the, if you break it down like a research project, it's your method, what did you do, the results, what happened, the reasons, your analysis, and the conclusion. Future recommendations are that we will do this. And that statement or that structure on any report will give you more buy-in from any senior manager, because they understand that you've looked at it, you've tried something, you've analysed the result, and you've come up with a recommendation for the future. And there's your actionable report, and there's your future buy-in. That people will, so many CEOs, managers, so many marketers they'll output all of the information, give all of, which is great for them to know, but the end user, the person you're trying to convince that you did a great job, may not understand or may not care about all of that. What they want to know is, was that a good result compared to what they were looking for? And if yes, what can they do to replicate it or do better next time? All right, that's marketing reporting for this week. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments or would like more information, feel free to connect on YouTube. Obviously, it's the channel that we've focused on. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon on Marketing Live TV. Feel free to promote Marketing Live TV on any of these channels. If you would like us to come and live stream your event, feel free to reach out. All right, thanks for watching, and bye for now.